let's say you're a fitness junkie, a gym junkie, or just someone who's into health and fitness,
Mhm.
and that's who you are, or not, well, who you are, but it's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
And you have like the people around you, friends, family, so on and so forth. They're not as keen or into it as you are, or like, they're like, their idea of a good time is going out on the town and getting up, quote unquote, getting on the bender, if you get what I mean. But like, how do you keep your relationships healthy and flowing while also not letting yourself get affected, or while keeping yourself on track?
So I guess first thing is that you've already established that you want to keep on track, which is great. Second thing is you've really established that there is a difference between whether it's friends, family, and that sort of stuff to your goals.
Yeah.
Um, you can still be social, but not go and drink a whole half cask of wine or whatever that is. Um,
Dude.
the only thing I guess you have to put certain parameters in place so that you can still be social. Well, does that mean you might not, if you go to a party and people are passing off shots and that sort of stuff, does that mean you probably won't have one? Probably not. um, does that mean you're probably, most people when they're socially standing around, they usually like to have something in their hand.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it goes
Yeah,
back to the Greeks and the Romans, like, let's be honest.
yeah, yeah, and quite often, what most people do that don't usually drink alcohol is that they usually go and fill it up with a soft drink, soda
Yeah.
water, or maybe soft drink that doesn't have any sugar in it. And
Bit of
reason,
water, it's pretty good.
yeah, water, yeah, soda water kind of looks like you're in that vibe, I should say,
Yeah.
or in that click. Um,
It's more the ritual of it, the kind of like having a drink in your hand, and if you get the feeling, you don't really necessarily care about the drink itself. It's just about the feeling of having a drink in your hand and being part of, yeah, the vibe, as you say,
Well,
or the
yeah, for some people just like to get written off. So they're like,
I
hell
mean,
yeah, I'm at age, or maybe I'm close to age. So there's a half a cask of wine over there, or there's a bottle of vodka over there. I'm gonna
cruises.
take a couple of swigs. And honestly, that's all part of the experimentation side of things. But um, in terms of navigating that, well, unfortunately, if I had to look at it from a logical perspective, those those behaviors of drinking, smoking, staying up late, smoking e-cigarettes completely goes against anything in terms, well, in my opinion, like to get the optimum side of things. Yeah, the only thing is when you go out and about, then that means you probably stay up later. So then
Yeah,
at the other end, if you have a candle and you burn it at both ends, then you're going to get tired. You're going to get tired, and then it's going to affect the following day.
yeah,
If you still engage in the social behavior in terms of whether it's drinking beers, whether it's drinking spirits or anything like that, initially you're going to feel great, maybe, I don't know. But then the
get a
next,
buzz on.
if you try to do a session or try to drag yourself out of bed, then it's going to be hard. It doesn't matter who it is. The people that say, "Oh, I wake up fine," the only reason why they say they wake up fine is because they've probably done it so many times, hung over, and they're like, "Oh, it's fine." Or you end up feeling terrible, that you feel terrible all the time. You don't actually realize what it feels like to feel good anymore. So,
Yeah,
but in terms of the social aspect, you can still go out and hang out socially and that sort of stuff. You can make the conscious choice and be that person that says, "Oh, I don't drink,"
yeah,
and your friends can take it or leave it. To be quite honest,
yeah,
don't get me wrong; they're still going to try to ram it down your throat, and they still will tempt you, and that's just what
yeah,
friends do.
yeah, yeah. It's
When
part
you
of the
get
experience.
when you get your license, you could always be the designated driver. That's one way to get out
True.
of it, because you have to obviously have a 0% alcohol level. But the thing with that is that everyone else will be kind of getting the buzz from alcohol or the buzz from whatever it is that's going around. And you're going to be the one that's sober. And you might either think, yeah, this is cool, this is fun.
Yeah.
Or you might think, I'm kind of bored, I'm kind of tired, I'm not really getting anything out of this. I don't know, like everyone.
Yeah.
You might get meaning and connection about being around those people and enjoying the conversation and that sort of stuff. So it's a process of managing that relationship and kind of saying to yourself, how much am I willing to give out to maintain these relationships? Am I willing to, if they're going to stay out till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. for whatever reason, maybe you might leave at 11 o'clock. I don't know. You won't be too popular if you do.
True.
Only because there is a certain percentage of people that they'll peer pressure and you're like, come on, kick on, let's go. So that will be the case with family and that sort of stuff. In terms of navigating the conversation, there'll be a certain few people that you'll have in your life, or just in this part of your life, that you'll be able to have an open conversation that you can feel like you're yourself with maybe only a very selected few people. So what does that mean? Does that might mean when you talk, just say you're talking to your uncle or whatever, you might say, you're not going to tell him about your macros because your uncle probably doesn't care. Okay.
Probably doesn't know.
Maybe he does, but you just engage in the small talk when you're talking to someone. You go, how's your day been? What have you been up to? How's your pet? How's your kids? Or how's work going? A lot of people like to talk about the weather when they couldn't be bothered talking about anything else because they're like, it's going to rain on the weekend. or sport. A common thing that a lot of people like to talk about is they got their sporting team and they're cheering about it, and then that takes it away. That takes it away from you. So it might be an idea if you're like, how am I going to navigate this? All my mates all go for the Raiders. Now, I guess I probably should at least follow the game, or at least see who won last week. So maybe we could talk about it, because one of the things we talked about is we mentioned it, unless you've got commonalities with people, you end up actually finding like you eventually drift apart from them, because you're like, I don't have a lot in common with this person. Like, apart from the fact that we grew up together. So
we were just born in the same place.
Well, there's a lot of people born in the same place. So finding those things that's common, but then asking open-ended questions. So who, what, when, why, and how. Most people like to talk about themselves. They love it. Okay. Guaranteed. If you're like, I don't want to talk about my bodybuilding, or I don't want to talk about my nutrition because it makes me feel self-conscious, because they feel uncomfortable because I can see that they're already bored because when I'm talking about it, and they're not interested, but I'm really interested in it. And then you're like, well, who am I going to talk about it to? But then you're like, well, but I still like them as a person. Well, then, okay, well, you hit them with who, what, when, why, how. And then you're like, whatever it is going on in their life. They might have got a new dog, or they might have got a new car. Oh, wow, that's a really cool car. Where'd you get it from? How's it going?
What kind of engine?
Well, yeah, it's on levels to when you get to know people and that sort of stuff. Do they need to know how into it you are? Well, your closer friends will know that the things that are really close to you are, you really, really float your boat. Does it float their boat? Probably not. They just know that you spend 5 nights a week at the gym, and they're like, that's Hamish. Yeah, that's what he
it's just he's a little
and then
psycho.
after a while, everyone knows that, they're only going to take one look at you. And they're like, well, you can tell that he's got results, and that's this. this, and you can make a joke out of it, you know, like you can make a joke out of, you know, someone says, "Oh, do you want to? You going to have any of these chips?" And then, you know, like, "Ah, not really. I'm trying to. I want to see my abs." And then the next person says, "Yeah, so my ha 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 ha." And you're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. But it's all fun games, you know. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, wow, God, intense. That's
Well, yeah. There's no right or wrong way
yeah,
to do it, but to keep other people on side,
yeah,
um, it's just about just trying to hone in. If you know if you ask a lot of other people questions first, you take the attention. But like a flower, unfortunately, then that means then you don't feel like anyone's interested in what you're doing. That's
true, true.
but you got to decide of, do you want to share this with people? Like I'm probably one of the worst people to talk to when it comes to training and bodybuilding, because if I find someone that's willing to listen, I'll just talk their ear off.
I'm the same.
Well, there you go. So you just go and find other people that talk your ear off, you know. So after a while, you end up, if you spend enough time in a certain environment, so just say it is the gym,
Yeah.
eventually you find other people that equally like to talk your ear off.
Well, that's with anything really. Like, you know, with dragon boating, with people who like cars, with people who like gym, you know, there's a community everywhere and anywhere. And if
Absolutely.
you spend enough time, you will get to see these people, and they will lead you to meeting new people and so on and so forth, and it just
Yeah,
keeps going. So
100%.
yeah,
Like I've down the beach where I'm staying at the moment. There's there's a really there's the same people go there every time, and it
yeah,
just so happens that, you know, I eventually I introduce myself to, you know, if I've seen the same person more than once, then I usually go over and
yeah.
introduce myself, and then yeah, and then start a conversation, and then before you know it, you message each other on Facebook Messenger or whatever, or then sending each
Yeah.
other links and all that sort of stuff, and then before you know it, you got a little pal.
Or a friend.